What's going on, Dolphin fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a couple quick things for you, including some breaking news. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The first thing that I want to tell you about is the breaking news. It's not Dolphins related specifically, but it is pretty big. And so here we go. Giants' Nate Solder opts out of the 2020 season, cites family's health concerns. New York Giants offensive tackle Nate Solder announced Wednesday he's opting out of the 2020 NFL season amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Our family has health concerns, most notably our son's ongoing battle with cancer, as well as my own bout with cancer, Solder said in a Twitter post. We also welcomed a new addition to our family this spring, a baby boy. With fear and trembling, we struggle to keep our priorities in order, and for us, our children's health and the health of our neighbors comes before football. So I read this to you and for a couple reasons. One, because it's a big deal that Nate Solder is sitting out. That's another pretty high-profile player that's deciding to opt out of the season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And also because for the reasons, right? Because and that last bit that he said there, our children's health and the health of our neighbors comes before football. Absolutely. That's what I've been saying this whole time. It's about the health of people, right? And the safety of people, not profits and entertainment. I'm sorry, but those things are not, especially profits. Profits can fuck all the way off. I get entertainment, absolutely. I mean, look, but there are other forms of entertainment, right? Like me personally, I have a large movie collection. I watch movies. I play video games. I work out. Different things, right? I understand it sucks not being able to have football, but there are more important things than football. So there's absolutely that. But additionally, you think he's the only player that has pre-existing conditions? You're even more susceptible to this thing with pre-existing conditions. So, and the likelihood that you could die from it drastically increases too. There are tons of guys that have pre-existing conditions, especially linemen. So it's not out of the question at all that some of these guys could get it and then have massive fucking side effects, if not die from it. And even if they don't fucking die from it initially while they're sick, while actually having it, it could do immense damage to their brain or to their lungs or to their heart or other organs then that they could end up dying from later, right? So somebody could get it at the beginning of the season, quarantine, get sick or whatever and get quarantined, recover, come back, but the damage could be so severe that on the inside that they don't realize right away, and then die from something later on in the midway, in the middle of the season or at the end of the season. Like it's, and look, is it a guarantee that that's going to happen if the season commences and so on and so forth? No, but it's a possibility, and even that possibility is too much of a risk to take. Because the more you put yourself in that position, the more risks you take, and you're taking that with each and every individual person, people's family members, right? So each and every one of those risks you take compounds it, and eventually you're going to fucking feel the hurt from it. So it's not good to do this at all. And so, that's part of the reason why I wanted to point it out again. But anyway, like I said, that's definitely big news. And, again, we're just going to have to wait and see. I think the season is going to inevitably end up getting shut down. I don't think it has a chance in hell of completing. I really don't. Because especially with these opt-outs we're seeing. There are a lot of them coming pretty quickly, and some pretty big names. And so, and then, I mean, the positive tests are already substantial. There are already a lot of them. And there's still another massive wave to come. I mean, all the veterans just reported yesterday. So we likely won't know their results for another day or two. And there could be a huge wave, or there's going to be a wave of positive tests. The only question is how large is it? How many more are we going to get in this next cycle after all of the veterans, right? Because the rookies, the quarterbacks, and the injured players is maybe half the team. So then you still have the rest of each individual team. So then you have the other half of teams that still need to come in. So there were already a lot from the first batches. So Anyway, we'll have to keep, including a few from the Dolphins, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, anyway, there's another thing, because obviously everybody's going to be talking about it, and it's huge news. Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa to practice without limits after recovering from injury. Miami Dolphins rookie quarterback Tua Tagovailoa will be at full tilt at training camp after undergoing season-ending hip surgery last year while at the University of Alabama. Dolphins head coach Brian Flores told reporters Wednesday that Tagovailoa passed his physical and will be able to practice without limitations. He added, "When there is practice, you'll see him." Tagovailoa went 5th overall to the Dolphins in 2020 NFL Draft, despite the fact he suffered a significant hip injury and multiple ankle injuries during his time in Alabama. He had an action-packed college career that kicked into high gear in 2017 when he came off the bench in the national championship game and led Alabama to a come-from-behind win over Georgia. The following year, he finished second in Heisman Trophy voting as he completed 69% of his passes for 3,966 yards, 43 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He was well on his way to being the Heisman finalist once again last season by completing 71.4% of his pass attempts, 2,840 yards, 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions through 9 games, but a hip injury that required surgery cut his season short, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we already know all the rest of this. You get the point. So, look, and the fact of the matter is that every step of the way since then, look, okay, every single step of the way, there has not been a single report that I've seen. Maybe there is, but there's certainly been reports of people saying you got to be cautious with him. There have even been reports of some people suggesting they should redshirt him and so on and so forth. But when it comes to his medicals, right, and the evaluation of him and the status of him, I have not seen a single report, right? Because in even all of those reports that are cautious and say, oh yeah, the medical records or the medicals say, you know, it's glowing and as good as it can be and perfect and blah, blah, blah. And all these fucking like over the top fucking praises of his recovery, that worries me a lot. And then especially because then Brian Flores is going to put him in. In training camp, he's going to let him go full tilt, as they said. And I think I've always thought there is a substantial likelihood that he could start the first game of the season. But the further we go along, the more I'm convinced he will actually start. For a lot of these reasons, but also because the season could end up being super short. So they might want to, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely, and I still don't know if they will start him day one, but I do think that there is certainly a high probability, and nobody should be shocked if he ends up starting in the very first game. Having said that, I think that would be a disaster. I think it would be an absolute disaster if that's what they did, because there is not a chance in hell that whatever offensive line they put out there, which should be theoretically Austin Jackson at left tackle, Eric Flowers at left guard, Ted Karras at center, I would think Jesse Davis at right guard, and Robert Hunt at right tackle. There's not a chance in hell that lineup or any mixture therein or with any of the other guys we have on the roster is going to be adequate enough to block for him. If they put him in the very first game, they are going to get him destroyed. I'm telling you, it's going to be the worst decision that they could absolutely make. I personally believe they shouldn't play him at all during the year. But if they put him in game one, there could be no worse decision. I mean, you guys know how I feel about taking him to begin with. But if they took him, if they decided to say, fuck it, they didn't trade up to get him, so good on them. They stayed on 5, but they took him anyway. I wouldn't have taken a chance on him ever, right? Unless maybe he was, undrafted or like maybe in the 7th round or something. I know people are like, oh, why? Oh my God, that's crazy. But he's so special. Well, until he has a career-ending injury. And people are like, no, that's okay if you believe that. But if they put him out there, I'm telling you, the worst possible decision they can make. If they're going to take a flyer on a guy like that, if they're going to say that our franchise guy is going to be a dude who is clearly injury prone, okay? It's just a fact, right? People say that Ryan Tannehill is injury prone because he had one injury, literally one injury, the knee injury, and there's nothing he can do about that. Throughout college, throughout his time with the Dolphins in particular, he was an Iron Man until that one injury. Since then, he's been good. That's not injury prone. What injury prone means is you have a record of getting injured. A consistent record of being injured. That is the definition of injury prone. Ryan Tannehill does not fit that. Once he gets another, I mean, he's had plenty of injuries, but he's always battled through them and always played at a high to really high level. So you can't call him injury prone. Andrew Luck was definitely towards the end of his career was injury prone, for example, right? Tua is injury prone. You can't argue that. It is a flat fact. So if they put him in game one, y'all better buckle up. Because all you Dolphins fans that are on board with how they're going and the direction that they're going in and with Tua, and if y'all so infatuated with him, you would better hope that they don't put him in there game one. Because if you're hoping to see him game one, if you think that's a good idea, and if you think that's really going to get us going and fucking blah, 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 man, you are going to be sadly mistaken and very disappointed, because he is not good enough, and nor is any combination of our offensive linemen going to be good enough with the all-new coaching staff, the super young, inexperienced team, new playbooks, a fucked up offseason, blah, 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 all these things. There's not a chance in hell that they're going to adequately be able to protect him and he will get mauled. I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm saying I don't think that they should start him day one. But there is that possibility, and it's in large part because of the fact that everybody is just fucking raving. And look, here's the thing. Even if it's true, right? I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that he isn't, doing that well in his recovery. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's possible, right? It's probable even. But that doesn't matter, okay? That doesn't matter. Because even if that's the case, what you should do, the smart thing that you should do is say, okay, well, he's checking out, right? He's checking off all the boxes. He's doing everything exactly right. He's able to, move how we want him to. He's able to do all the things. But there has to be the but, right? And you don't need to be all over the top with it. You don't need to be like, oh, perfect this and fucking as good as it can be and miraculous this and like calm the fuck down. Stop being so over the top. Acknowledge the reality of his recovery, but then also say, okay, but we are not, because we understand that he is in fact injury prone, and the likelihood of us having a reliable sound wall in front of him is not going to be there. The right thing to do is to not play him. Again, I think that they should, because even if they do manage to get through an entire season, that offensive line, even if Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt are not reaches, and I think that they are, if Eric Flowers is not overpaid for what he's going to produce for us, and they got it right there, even if those things are the case, and I think he is overpaid, then it's going to take time for them to gel, for especially the rookies to get used to the NFL, especially with the crazy world. Like, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot longer than just, it's definitely going to take longer than just this year. Okay? So there's not a chance in hell, if it was me, that Tua would ever step on the field in his first year. He just wouldn't. Not in a live game. Unless he was like, I would go through him and Josh Rosen before I went to fucking Tua. He would be my last option. I would find a fucking kicker that can throw the ball before I fucking put Tua in there in his first season. I would go pick up another quarterback off the waiver wires before, or whatever, before in free agency before I put Tua in his first season. Because that's how much I would want to make sure that he's protected, and then that way the pieces around him are going to be adequate for him to be able to then go in and relatively safely, do his job with the least amount of, chance and opportunity for him to have a career-ending injury. That would be the smart thing to do, but we'll have to wait and see if that's what they do in actuality. I don't know. It's really super difficult to make like a firm prediction, but again, I think that there is a very high probability that he could start week 1, and I think that that would be a disaster. Anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And, of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.